Hello, and welcome to this week's Talent Talk presented to you by the Integria team. We're going to be discussing job seeker tips, strategies for a successful job search. So, I'll be hosting today's panel discussion along with my colleagues Mandy Danko and Ralph Ramia. They are two amazing senior talent acquisition advisors at Integria Consulting. I'm also a talent acquisition advisor with Integria. My hope is that this discussion will be helpful to anyone who maybe has hit a wall with their job search. And so, yeah, we're gonna get started with some. Sorry, guys. I think we're getting some background noise. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, thank you so much for being part of this talent talk today. So I'll get us started by sharing some statistics with you that I think are interesting when if you are a job seeker for you to know. So number one is that only 30% of job openings are posted. It only takes 60% of qualifications to be met for men to apply for a role versus 100% for women. It takes only 6 seconds for a recruiter to review your resume. And 89% of all recruiters report having hired someone through LinkedIn. And we're actually going to talk about the power of LinkedIn in a little bit with Mandy. So when approaching a job search, it's very helpful to go about it using the three-pronged attack. So these are three methods that can kind of get you started in your job search. Number one would be, of course, applying to roles that you see posted on Indeed, LinkedIn, and other job boards. Reach out to recruiters that specialize in your industry or your profession. And create a list of organizations that you're interested in and start looking for contacts at those companies or people who can introduce you to those contacts. So that's the three-pronged attack. So we'll break it down and go a bit more in depth with each method. So starting with Mandy, if Mandy, you can help us go a little bit deeper into applying to roles that you see posted. It might seem self-explanatory, but if you could walk us through the power of LinkedIn and how to stand out as a candidate when you are applying for a role.
Sure. Thank you, Clara. So most of us know LinkedIn. We are on LinkedIn, so we know it's a very, very popular professional networking platform. It has over 850 million members worldwide, out of which 17,430 LinkedIn users in Canada only. And those numbers go back to 2020. So since then, I think there's quite a few more users that adopted LinkedIn. Now, to improve your profile on LinkedIn, to make it stand out, I would like to add that it's preferable to have a headshot. It's always nice to put a face to the name. It helps the recruiter connect with you as an individual. Make sure your profile is up to date as well. Make sure that there's enough details that highlight your experience, that shows your responsibilities and what you accomplished. And I would also add that adding keywords that are industry related to your role that you're looking for. For example, if you're looking for a role in HR, you want to highlight your expertise by using, for example, compensation and benefits experience, manpower planning, performance development, succession planning, and the list goes on. I would also add maybe put some examples of ATS softwares that you're used to, the applicant tracking system that is. Like Taleo, there's a Workday, there's a Greenhouse, there's Team Tailor that we also use. So those are very helpful for us to actually notice your profile as well if we're looking for someone in your field. Next, I would say turn your open to work button on. I know some people hesitate to do that because they are under the impression that their current company will see it. The only way that currently you can show to everybody who has a LinkedIn access is that if you put the banner, the green banner that you're open to work. But if you just turn your open to work button on, it's mostly recruiters who have access to the recruiting page that will notice you as well. Something else I would add on is set up your job alerts. You will receive notification with opening roles. That's always very helpful as well. And the lastly, I would say join some groups specific to your industry. If you're in HR, search for HR professional groups. There's tons and tons of it out there, and that's also a good way to get notifications, to be aware of what's going on in the industry, to get news about the industry. And if you look up the companies that are posting, most likely you'll see that there's openings there too.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Mandy. And I would say also often on LinkedIn, when you see jobs posted, it's tempting to just hit the quick apply for every job where you're just submitting a CV. But taking the extra time to write a message, a personalized message, or include a cover letter really helps you stand out against other applicants. So that would be my tip. Ralph, I don't know if you have anything to.
Yeah, definitely. So actually, what you shared was super important, and definitely, I wanted to add that LinkedIn is your digital identity, your career digital identity, and
Mhm.
a common mistake that usually I see not on daily basis, but like it's a usual mistake. Your LinkedIn should be exact copy in a way, especially with the date, timeline, and everything with your CV, because some candidates have differences between LinkedIn and CV, and that make a big question mark. So make sure, guys, your LinkedIn and your CV they are working together, same time, same job, same everything is the same, synchronized. So I will add this as well on the
Yeah.
LinkedIn. It's very
Yeah.
important, and I see that especially on a daily use.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's
Sure.
very, very powerful tool, I think. So the second approach to a successful job search, aside from just applying to roles that you see posted, is to reach out to recruiters. So Ralph, what advice can you give on how recruiters can be of help to you when job searching, how to break the ice with the recruiter? Um, what insight do you have about that?
So definitely, this topic is super important, and we can really go in depth into this conversation. And some people or some employee might have different experience with the recruiter or different relation with recruiter. But like, let's say how recruiter can help you guys finding a job or facilitate for you the task of finding a job and going through the process. So I think there is some key that we can break the ice with the recruiter as a candidate. And it's super important if we're transparent in general with the recruiter. At the end of the day, the recruiter is a tool for a candidate and is a tool for the hiring manager as well. So it's a very powerful tool. I will discuss some point and they will be helpful as well, guys, to know. I know there is a lot of people they might know what I will share, and some people they're new with having conversation or relation with a recruiter, or there is misperception of the recruiter's job. So
Mhm.
basically, a recruiter can save you time, guys. So on a daily basis, let's say 8 to 9 hours, we're searching for the right position, for the right candidates, or vice versa. So the recruiter can really save you time, do the search. The recruiter definitely he will connect you on a larger scale. I know, like you might be connected on your at your work or with different platform or different groups, but recruiter might know a larger scale of networking in job search. Especially, we know that there is a lot of position they're not posted. There is a lot of positions that are confidential, and only recruiter have access for those specific position, and you might be looking for such those positions. So that's super important for you guys to know that the access of the networking and the large scale that the recruiter could have. And as well, he will help you in the process. Like, he will explain to you the process, he will show you if it's the right fit, he will communicate with you. So being transparent and really sharing why you would like to make that move, or what you're interested in your next career, or like what you might be bothering you in your current company and why you want to make a move. So this will really facilitate uh, the task for you, and will facilitate the recruiter to present the right position for you. So that's super, super important. And as well, the recruiter can help you in the search, and he's in a way, let's say, he will be supporting you for negotiating salary. Sometime he will be supporting you getting better offers, and so on and so forth. So really, the recruiter is super helpful tool. Is
Yeah.
not someone who's against the candidates. And just to add something, when a candidate is rejected, that doesn't mean the recruiter who rejected that candidate. We should be super aware of this. Recruiter have to report to a hiring manager or have to report to a client, regardless if we work in an agency or we work in a company. At the end of the day, we present the candidates. And for every recruiter, his objective is to fulfill this position. And he's looking for a long run, because it's gonna be more work for a recruiter. So trust me, the recruiter will like to help you to get the job if that's the right job for you as well. And if you were transparent from the beginning with the recruiter to know what position to present you, because sometimes it's not the right fit. It will be a networking opportunity, and he might have the right position for you, and he might contact you on a later stages. Hey, listen, I have something for you that's exactly what you told me you're looking for, and he will present this new opportunity for you. So I think that people should know exactly how recruiter could help, how it can support. And I think it will be helpful for all recruiters if the candidate is transparent with them, and vice versa. The recruiter as well should be, in a way, super transparent with the candidates to know what you're looking for. So I think that's what the most important part that I will cover about this topic. And I don't know, Mandy, Clara, if you have anything else to add on what I said. Or...
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Ralph. I think it's helpful to remember when you are reaching out to recruiters that a recruiter's job is to match people to jobs and not jobs to people. So make sure that you're reaching out to recruiters that are in the industry that you want to work in. So whether that is tech or retail or consumer goods, look for recruiters that hire for that industry, so they're more likely to have a job that is going to be fitting what you're looking for. But yeah, that's great advice. I don't know, Mandy, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, and I would add the only thing that we like is when you respond to the recruiters. I mean, we are reaching out to you with a note, most likely a very friendly note. Even if you're not interested at this time, it's always nice to respond back. Thank you. Maybe we can connect. Just keep in mind that we work hard as well, and maybe one day you'll want to reach back out to us. It's all about networking, really. It's making connections. It's sharing knowledge sometimes, and you may know someone who's looking, so you can refer that person, or vice versa. We never know.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yes, and I think we were saying this a bit earlier, but I know right now you may be bombarded actually by messages from recruiters because there are a lot of jobs available right now, which is a good thing, but it can mean that you may not feel like you have to respond to the recruiters because you're getting so many messages, and it can even feel a bit annoying sometimes, but you never know, right, what the future holds. So it's good to keep that communication open, and yeah, it's networking at the end of the day. So if you can, just to kindly say no thank you, it's not for me, really makes a difference.
Yeah.
Great.
Great, so thank you so much. I guess we'll move on to the third approach for job search, which is to research companies and organizations that you would like to work for. So I want to talk a little bit about this method. I think the best way to approach it is to start by looking at companies that share your values. So, defining what those values are for yourself. You can use the Ikigai model if you'd like. It's a very helpful model that it's spelled Ikigai, and it helps you determine what your passion, mission, vocation, and profession are. These can help you guide your search, right? So then you look for organizations that share the same values as you, and that's going to be an environment where you're going to be wanting to work in because, through the actions of the companies, they're going to match what your values are. So important also would be to spend some time researching the people who make the company what it is. So you can use LinkedIn for this and go through the employees on the company page. Often the CEO and other key leaders set the tone for a company's direction. So finding out what drives them, what they're posting about on LinkedIn, or any books or articles that they've written. And you can even use this to send a cold message, which opens the door for networking again. You can find a lot of information on employee benefits that a company provides using Glassdoor. And Glassdoor, if you don't know, is a website where you can see reviews on companies from employees. It's a bit limited because you do have to post a review yourself to see all of the reviews from companies, but that can be a very helpful tool as well in finding, an organization that you're going to be wanting to work in. And lastly, I would say my tip would be to speak to people who work in the same industry as those organizations and find out what the company's reputation is. So if you want to know, what the reputation is for that company in that industry, it's very helpful to speak to people who are at different companies that have, maybe heard word of mouth about the reputation. And that can also be very helpful. Ralph, I don't know if you have anything else that you think might be helpful in researching companies.
Yeah, definitely. And I would like to mention something before starting searching for a new company. Like sometimes you have to look in your for own company at the beginning. What's the real problem for you, and why you're interested to look for a new position, to be aware. Like you don't want to go from a toxic environment to a new toxic environment for you. So first
Right.
of all, you should know exactly what's the problem and what research. That's something that I see today since I'm a recruiter, and I see this a lot, and I think recruiter will see this as well. Like people look sometimes just to increase their salary, which is salary is important to grow, is important to keep life work balance as well. But like sometimes the solution is not to increase your salary. The solution will be to really find a company, as you said, Clara, that have the same vision, mission, objective, and the team that we're looking for. So guys, don't focus only on salaries, and especially when the recruiter presents for you the position. Before asking what's the salary, I know you may be bombarded, as we said before, but have like 1-2 minutes just to understand what's the position, what's the opportunity is before asking. Oh, I have this salary. Other than that, I'm not happy. So I think that's super important.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Ralph. Mandy?
Yeah, just to add to everything that you guys said, I totally agree. It also allows you to learn about their business, about their industry, what they do. Sometimes you think you know a company just by name, but there's more to a company than just the name. Also, learn about the latest news about the company. Have they had mergers? Have they had acquisitions? What is the growth have been like in the last few years? What's the projection? Companies love to talk about when they bring a new company in or a merger. So that's something that is very helpful to you as well. But it's also going to help you, should you get an interview, to have a discussion with the hiring manager, an educated discussion about the company you're applying to. And hiring managers love hearing about their own companies when you're aware where you're getting into. So it could be a
Exactly.
little plus for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think as we're also hearing a lot about quiet quitting, right? It's a huge trending topic right now, which I think is really just about a lack of engagement with work. And hopefully, if you find an organization that shares the same values as you, you'll be more engaged in the work that you're doing. And that can help solve a bit of that problem that we're seeing with a lot of employees, not really giving their all because they don't feel connected to what they're doing. So yeah, I think taking that time to research a company, even though I know job search is a very stressful thing, very time consuming thing, I think it's you'll be a lot more successful with it if you take the time to really find the right opportunity for you.
True.
Great. So I guess we'll move on to our last portion of this talk, which is going to be just giving some tips and tricks on how to build a resume or a CV in 2022. So I know all of us, we go through a lot of resumes on a weekly basis. So I think over time we've picked up maybe some things that work well and some things that maybe you want to avoid when you are building your resume. So I would say, briefly, some things that I think are good is to make sure that you're building a resume around the job that you want. So make sure highlight those accomplishments that are going to be job specific. If you have any recruiter contacts, ask them to review. Always send the CV as a PDF so that it cannot be edited. Keep it concise, no longer than maybe 1 or 2 pages. And I think you don't really need to include hobbies or personal interests. Really focus it on just work experience. Don't include your address. I'm sure there's a lot more. Ralph, Mandy, you want to add?
Yeah, don't include your picture. It's okay. On a resume, we don't need a picture. We don't need your birth date. We don't need all that personal stuff. But I would really want to highlight is proofread your resume. Have somebody else proofread it.
Yeah.
There's so many nuances between words that sound the same. There's autocorrect as well. That just puts a word in there for you that you didn't mean to say, but you don't catch it sometimes. But not only for the words, but also for the dates. It's very important that you check your dates and double check, because if you started working in 2005, most likely you didn't finish your role in 2001. It was just a typo.
Yeah,
It should have been 2011.
Yeah.
So make sure you pick that up, or somebody else can read it. 2 eyes are always better than just yours. And also be ready to talk about your job changes, and make sure you're honest about why you changed jobs. Maybe in the last 2 years you changed 4 times. Be honest about it, and be ready to talk about it during an interview.
Sure. And
Yeah.
I would like to add something. I think now it's super important if you mention on your CV, on your resume, especially at the end or at the beginning of every new job that you're at, and it's to be a solvent. We like to see, or hiring manager like to see someone who's solving problems. So it's super important to mention at this specific job, what accomplishment did you had, what achievement did you had, or what problem you was able to solve. So this will give an idea about you. And I think nowadays we're not just looking for candidates to fulfill position. We need someone who can have an added value for the company. So I think nowadays if we add this on our CV, it's gonna give us more idea about yourself, more idea about your capability, and we might choose you for you to be the right fit for the position. So you might stand out between different CVs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and on that point too, I think if you are someone who's maybe looking to change directions in your career, finding out what transferable skills that you have and highlighting those. You can even have like a highlights portion at the beginning of your CV where you have those skills that maybe you learned from a job, and you're looking for something a bit different, but those skills are going to be transferable, right? So that's a huge advantage as well. Yeah, so I think that sums it up. I want to thank you, Mandy and Ralph, so much for joining today's Talent Talk. Also to all the attendees who are joining. As a reminder, this video is going to be posted later on LinkedIn and YouTube. So if you missed the beginning, you can go and rewatch it. Also, feel free to reach out to us after this talk if you have any questions you want to ask privately. Of course, like job search is often, if you are already employed, it's something that you have to do confidentially. So, if you don't want to post anything publicly, I encourage you to reach out to us individually and ask any questions that you have. We often will set exploration calls with anyone who's job searching to try and connect them with different companies, especially around Montreal. So yeah, feel free to reach out. And yeah, thank you again so much. Thank you, Mandy. Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you.
As well. Thank you.
Have a great rest of your week. And yeah, take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.